Good morning, good morning, good morning. So yes, I'm at work and yes, it's Saturday. This is not a mistake. Um, Part of my job, without talking too much about work, part of my job requires me to work so many events a year, like public events. And so the first 6 months of any given year, you will find that I work a lot of nights and a lot of weekends. And I do that because my performance evaluations and my job hinges on that goal. So, my goal, so it doesn't matter to me whether they give me a 27 event goal or a 57 event goal. I'm going to accept every single invitation that comes to my desk until I hit around 80% of my goal. And then I can back off and start picking and choosing. But, being in a department with 10 other people striving for the same goal, you can't really cherry pick your events. So there's that. Anyway, that has nothing to do with my life other than the fact that you might be wondering why it's Saturday and I'm at work. So here I am, at work, and I actually have about 20 minutes before I have to leave here. I have to be in Tavares, Florida. They're doing an Arbor Day celebration, and because I work for a company that has arborists on staff, and we have a very aggressive tree trimming program to eliminate outages. Hi, hello, good morning, Sheena. So, anyway, we're gonna do the Arbor Day event in Tavares. So, any of my keto peeps that live out in that area, I'm going to be at the Arbor Day event in Tavares, Florida. You can come by and meet me. Of course, I'm going to be in my work garb, and I will be working. And but anyway, just saying, I know I have a couple YouTubers. I think they're from Claremont, Groveland area. I'll be in Tavares today. But anyway, so blah 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 blah. So I've been playing around with the idea of trying a carnivore diet. And the reason why I have been contemplating carnivore is because I watched a dramatic shift in my blood glucose, my ketones, and my weight loss when I shifted from net carbs to total carbs. Carnivore, in essence, is the strictest form of plant-based restriction that you can find. The premise of carnivore is that even plants, all life forms, are going to do what they can to keep from being eaten. There are plants out there that people are allergic to, sensitive to, that cause inflammatory response because plants don't want to be eaten either. I know this sounds crazy, just bear with me. The science is that plants have some kind of chemical in them that when you are trying to digest it, it will actually release that chemical in effort to try to salvage its life. It's the reason why you can eat some foods and when they come out the other end, they are in the same exact composition they were when you ate them. Corn, for one. But there are certain seeds and stuff that do the same thing. It's why you can't eat them when you have diverticulitis. You can't eat seeds. You can't eat certain foods. But there are plants that release this enzyme to protect itself from being digested, to ensure its survival. And they believe that there are a whole lot of people out there that have inflammatory responses and have inflammation and have allergic, like slight intolerances and allergies to the chemical that's produced. Now look, I don't know how 100% accurate this is. I'm just telling you, out of watching about 15 videos from people that I trust, sources that I trust, That's the gist of it. There may be a little bit more complex, but I'm not a doctor, right? I am the keto critic. I am Princess Ninja. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a licensed dietitian. So I'm just telling you what I think I've learned. Okay, so the reason that I've been playing with going carnivore is because in the comments below, not in the live chat comments, but in the comments below, I'm going to be adding the link to the Diet Bet Challenge that I'm in. I think today is the last day you can sign up. Now, from what I understand, this isn't a proposition where you're going to double or triple your money. From all of the videos that I've seen about Diet Bet, basically, if you meet your goal, you're going to get your money back to live on to be in another challenge. As I was scrolling through the app, I found several challenges where the pot is up to like $62,000, $70,000. I'm not kidding you. There's like 3,000, 4,000 participants. The pots are really high. 4% body weight loss in, a month period. It's an extra motivation. It costs you $35 to get in. And if you meet your goal, if you meet the 4%, you haven't lost anything. You haven't. They just roll it over into your diet account, and you can either ask them to send you a check or you can roll it over to another challenge. It'd be a great way for temporary motivation. They do not focus on non-scale victories, things like that. I mean, they're focused on the scale, but what a great way, what a great motivator. I'm going to do a full Diet Bet app review when I'm done, because I haven't used it long enough to give you like a conclusive, hey, this is a great thing, because I don't know all the ins and outs. So far, it appears to be like a fun thing. But if, money's tight and you don't have that kind of budget to put out that $30 investment, you know what I'm saying? This might not be a good thing for you. But if you're someone who has $30 and you're like, you know what? That's $1 a day. I'm betting on myself. I'm betting on myself. So where it could turn into a money-making proposition is, let's say that you have 50 pounds to lose, right? 4% of my body weight at 197 pounds is 7.6 pounds in 30 days. And you guys know that my average weight loss is 2 to 3 pounds a month. So how in the heck am I going to double that weight loss to meet these challenge goals? So that is the reason why I'm considering carnivore. And once again, going back to what I originally started saying, and can you believe I remembered that? I actually started something and I've been able to circle all the way around. Come back to where I started. I'm not like walking around going, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. And I'm not joking about that. I am not joking about dementia, but I'm telling you right now, my brain, I am in the early stages of dementia, because I'm finding myself repeating myself all the time. I walk into rooms, I don't remember why I'm there. I look at my husband and I'll say something and he'll say, you just said that to me 5 minutes ago, and I cannot remember our conversation, not even a little bit. So while it is scary, I try to make humor sometimes out of things that scare the crap out of me. But anyway, moving on, back to where I was. So I was considering carnivore because I went from losing 1/3 of a pound a week, doing 21 net carbs or less a day, and my total carbs were somewhere between 30 and 20. Sometimes I'd have 40 or 50, blah, blah, blah. When I went to total carbs, which means total carbs cannot be over 20 grams, I noticed that my weight loss went from an average of 1/3 of a pound a week to almost a pound a week. And I'm like, huh? Okay. I noticed my blood sugar dropped. You remember last week I was celebrating all those 75, 72, 76. That has been unheard of. Those are like 10-year lows for me, because I used to be a diabetic. So those are 10-year lows for me. Without feeling hypoglycemic, so that was a good thing. I saw the highest consistent ketone levels. Oh, and one thing I want to tell you is ketones. Okay. As long as you're registering 0.5 or higher, you have hit dietary ketosis. You are in nutritional ketosis. Now, someone that's producing 2 or higher, their body is more fat adapted, their body is producing ketones better. But there are some people that take this journey, so don't look at other YouTubers' keto journeys and think that just because your ketones don't get to 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.7, that you're not doing this right. Some people never achieve those numbers. And as an example, I have done a 20-hour fat fast consuming no more than 1,000 calories, and 90% of it came from fat, 0 carbs, and the following day I followed that 24-hour fast, followed up by a 20-hour fast. The highest my ketones ever got was 2.4. That was it. And I know I'm fat adapted. I know I didn't need any artificial sugars. You guys that have been watching my journey know how strict I am, right? You know how clean I eat. So, that was just a thought. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. Let's circle back around. So anyway, I thought to myself, if you cut your total carbs and started counting total carbs and you increased your weight loss, and look, this is not about a race. That's why I'm doing this for a week. If I find that I can do this, if I find that I can do this for a week, then I am going to transition. Good morning. I'm going to transition and probably continue it as long as possible, but I'm going to document the entire journey. I'm going to document it. So right now I am talking to the keto mechanic. I'm asking him for his best carnivore bone broth recipe. The only bad thing is that I found out on Carnivore, because coffee beans are plant-based, you can't have coffee. That almost stopped me from trying this at all. It almost stopped me completely. I'm like, oh, what the heck? Because one of my plans to get in enough fat was going to be to drink bulletproof coffee, but that's out of the question now. One of the goals here for me is to have 0 carbs. So coffee is one of those things that they explained can be inflammatory and can be counterproductive to doing carnivore. So if I'm doing carnivore, then I can't drink coffee. So I'm from Florida. So back to where I was. So I'm on doing carnivore. You can't have coffee because coffee is a plant-based bean, right? And they claim that it's going to actually can counterproduct your carnivore diet. Sorry, I have like a message that keeps coming up that's distracting me. So anyway, I was kind of upset about it. And you know what? I thought, I'm off work for the next 3 days. I know what happens when I try to give up coffee. For about 2 or 3 days, I am going to have the most hellacious headache in the world. But you know what? I'm off work for the next 3 days. I need some sleep. Maybe if I have a headache and I'm not feeling well, that'll give me motivation and incentive to lay down. So my plan is that other than my coffee this morning, I'm total carnivore today. For my lunch, I have packed 3 hard-boiled eggs, about 12 pieces of pepperoni. I'm just guessing based on the pinch that I took. And I do have 2 Sargento all-natural pepper jacks cheese sticks, which when I log that in Carb Manager and when I look at the nutritional facts on the back, it has 0 carbs for 2. If I added a 3rd one, it would give me a carb. So I'm shooting for 0 carbs today. in my bulletproof coffee this morning, which I know is not carnivore, so before the carnivores come on here and start yelling at me, this is my first time, first day, didn't know. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to drink coffee. So I had 8 ounces of coffee with a tablespoon. I also didn't know I couldn't have coconut oil because it's plant-based. So I'm going to be cooking me up about 3 pounds of bacon, and I'm going to be using baking fat. I'm also going to be stopping by my health food store to buy some ghee, and I already have some grass-fed butter. So I'm off to a good start. My lunch today, like I said, is hard-boiled eggs, 2 pieces of cheese, and some pepperoni, but I'm going to try to minimize my dairy. Knowing that I can't have coffee, This morning, though, my bulletproof coffee was a full tablespoon of heavy whipping cream, 1 teaspoon of Kerrygold butter, and 1 teaspoon of Dr. Bronner's unrefined coconut oil, which I love. So I'm going to miss that because I usually cook my steaks, my burgers, everything. I'm just going to have to learn to love something else. I like coconut oil because of its flash temperature. You know, it doesn't burn, as easily as butter or olive oil or whatever. And olive oil, when you heat it up to a certain temperature, loses all of its nutrients. So, yeah, that's why I've always preferred to cook with coconut oil. But, I'm going to give ghee and I'm going to give Kerrygold a shot. Maybe I just have to learn to cook at lower temperatures for a longer period. I'm going to be going to the store and picking up my survival. I'm going to be doing meal prep, but I have been talking to the keto mechanic about his best bone broth. And I thought in the morning, since I'm so used to having that warm cup of coffee, I thought, why not just trade that for bone broth, start my day off. Now with the carnivore, that's going to change some of my intermittent fasting. When you first start carnivore, they tell you, yes ma'am. When you first start carnivore, they tell you don't count calories, don't log your food, don't just eat when you're hungry and eat until you are absolutely not just a little bit full. Eat until you are totally satisfied. When you are totally satisfied, eat until you're no longer hungry and then eat a little bit more. Because if you don't get enough protein and you don't get enough fat, you're not getting any calories from carbohydrates. That's really important, and you could actually make yourself sick. So carnivore it is. I'm actually looking forward to not logging anything. The only time I would be using my carb app will be if I'm not sure about, like, there's some foods that if you just eat one has 0 carbs, but if you eat 3 has a carb. So there's going to be cheeses, dairy, things like that I'm going to be logging in there to see how much I can have before it gives me a carbohydrate. But I'm really going to try to steer clear of dairy, period. I'm going to put the Diet Bet app in the comments of this video. And today is your last day to join. So please come join us. If you have the $30 to make a bet on yourself that you can lose 4% of your body weight, thank you, Sheena, for joining. It's going to be fun. I mean, if you make your 4%, you haven't lost anything, and then you can roll it over to a new challenge. But I have watched YouTubers it's a very slow process, but I have watched YouTubers who say that they consistently earn $1 or $2 every time they join a big challenge. And, where they started off with their initial $30 bet, they've done 4 or 5 challenges, and now they're up to like $150, $170. So, I mean, you're not losing anything as long as you make your goals. And I just know in order for me, I'm getting ready to get off, Tracy. I got to head to Tavares today. I know in order for me to meet that 7.6 pounds in 30 days, I know that my average weight loss is less than a pound a week. I got to take it up a notch. And you know what? Carnivore is super, super healing. You're going 0 carb, 0 plant-based. I can actually start adding foods back in when I'm done doing the carnivore experiment. And I can actually, if I only introduce 1 food a week, then I'm going to know exactly what my inflammatory response is to each one of these foods that I'm eating, right? I mean, if you strip yourself down to nothing and you only allow certain things, Yes. I told my husband the same thing too, but my husband, in my opinion, doing low carb is painful because you're allowed to eat just this much. And to me, being having a history as a binge eater, I can't do that. I can't. I can't. I have found that foods are either stop or go. There's no yellow light. Um, there are foods that I can eat and I can eat one portion and I can walk away and say, yeah, I don't want any more of that. But there are certain trigger foods, especially if it has anything to do with sugar, sweetener, or carbs, that I eat one, I'm going to eat 85 with no control. So I have to be very careful with that. But anyway, once again, in the comments below, please remember to hit the thumbs up. I've got to travel to Tavares. If you are in Tavares today, Tavares, Florida, I'm going to be working. So you can come by and say hi to me. Anyway, wish me luck on the carnivore and the no coffee. Don't forget to get a thumbs up before you leave here. If you're watching this on the replay, in the comments below, I'm going to leave the link to Diet Bet. The Keto Mechanic has created this event. Right now, the pot is up to $245. So, yes. I love you guys. You guys